record, and this slide is fun. And then do you guys, Risa, can you just dump your stuff on this slide deck, or what are we doing?
I did.
Okay,
I
so
did
we're all
already.
good now. We're all happy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. You guys are just good, taking care of me. Good, good. Okay.
Well, we're in, Celebrityville, I guess, so we can take care of you.
Guys are horrible.
And I'm like, how do we celebrate over Zoom? And how do we make this so special? I was talking to my coworkers today, like, I wish I could bring cupcakes because it's our last, you know what I
Very
mean?
true. This is our last meeting.
It
So
is our
Yeah.
last one. And I'm going to send something out. Dan and I are talking about it right now. So I'm going to send something out to you guys because you've been coming all the time, and to make it a little bit more special. But yeah, I know it's like weird because we don't, yeah.
It's so weird to me, but thank you for thinking of us to send something out. Here's a virtual cupcake.
I know, it's like
Thanks, Kay.
we do family game night every Sunday, and so the three kids generally join, and they're wherever, Colorado, North Dakota, wherever. My brother-in-law in Colorado generally joins, and my sister-in-law, who's here in town, generally joins with her kids. And this week it was just the Colorado peeps and the North Dakota peeps, and so we're all on. Dinner was a little late, and so the Colorado peeps and us were all eating dinner, and so we brought the laptop in, and we just like eating dinner together. Poor North Dakota, he's like, I didn't get the memo. I didn't know we were eating dinner. Nobody told me. So sorry. So
All thrown off.
I know. So we need to like send out a memo. Bring your snack.
Yes. Awesome. Well, I think we could probably get started, you guys.
yeah,
Yay.
it's already 10 after, so we'll get started on, actually, I was going to look at slide 8, kind of an overview. We did the welcome, kind of got everybody in the sync of things, decide what David you were on today or this week. Then we're going to go over the conclusions and connections, and I'll do that. And then we'll go equity. Yeah, let's just jump right into the conclusions and connections. So some of our unit 6, they gave us number 6 and number 9 to kind of look at as asynchronous work. So getting properties and making a game. Let's go on to the next slide. So within this whole unit, they also introduced a lot of the progression for chapter 2, which was lesson 10 was arrays and color LEDs. 11 was making music. 12 was more about loops. 13 was the accelerometer. 14 was functions with parameters. And then 15 was the circuit and physical prototypes. So going on from what we did in our asynchronous work, this is kind of what they fill in. Go ahead to the next slide. So the last thing was actually lesson 16. So the students have done all those different prototypes with different links and different arrays and lights and music and loops, things like that, and the circuit board. And then with 16, it's more of an innovative prototype is what they make. So I'm gonna have us break into probably 2 groups maybe, and go to the link on, go back to 13, sorry. There is a link on 13 where you'll go to unit 16, and I want you to spend 5 minutes on just looking at the different rubrics or the different sheets or the different handouts, the exemplars that they have, and then share on slide 14. So if each person could make one box on the 14. So go to this, yeah, go to P project 16. That's on slide 13, right there, the studio, yep. Studio, Code Studio project resources is where you're gonna go. And then come back and share on slide 14 in a box. What were some of those takeaways for this unit when you're looking at this big project? So share key takeaways after exploring. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do that. Julie, do you want to break us up into our two groups?
I only put you in one group because there's only 3 of us.
Yeah, I was going to say,
It was something tangible I could put on a rubric.
Yep. And I mean, I think sometimes they need a rubric just to keep them to a standard because we're past Easter. So it is time to have a rubric and a checklist, you know, and a pace. This is what we're doing today. This is what we're going to do tomorrow.
I think
And
Kay and I
then
talked about the whole spreadsheet thing, right? I totally
Yeah.
agree.
Like I have a bunch of kids out tomorrow if there's a track meet, and then there's FCCLA out Monday and Tuesday, golf and track Monday and Tuesday. I mean, like I'm going to be teaching myself. I'm going to be talking to myself in my classroom. It's crazy. And prom is this week. Oh boy. One of those
Oh
things.
boy.
Did you have
But I
any
got-
input, Leela, in the sense
you say?
of, did you have any input for slide number 14, the little boxes? Share one of your takeaways. What was one of your takeaways about the Unit 6 project?
I got, excuse me, I got Kay off on a tangent. I'm sorry. We
I
were
did the
just,
same. I went right with you.
we were trying to figure out, like, when you finish a unit, like a big unit, and you have like, 3 solid weeks of instruction, like, what's the next thing that, so we were talking about that just to get through the rest of the year, but yet still stay on the code site and still, utilize some of those tools. So we were talking about that.
Okay, yeah, feel free to put that on there too, but that's kind of one of the takeaways for the asynchronous work that I had. I put on 3. What about participants that follow along in the curriculum and then they're supposed to be debugging or whatever, right? What does that look like? Or how do you support students that are frustrated with debugging? What are some things you can do different? Can you, maybe I'll dump it in this slide box here.
Well, and that's
I-
one of the things, I know Kay, you mentioned this. She said she had some students in one of her classes that would struggle with the depth, the deeper concepts at the end of Unit 3. So she kind of deviated just a little bit for them, just to get them through it so that their level of frustration wasn't quite so high. And my kids are not special ed students, but they're very special children. They cannot stay in their seat at all. And so I told her I was keeping pace with Unit 3 and teaching things. And then the spring play and the SLO and Smarter Balance all came up at the same time. And literally I could not keep up. I couldn't do the lesson ahead of time. So then I just set them loose. And they were just hit and finish. And I said, I'm kind of worried now because I think at the end of Unit 3, there's some kids that didn't truly understand it, but they still found a way to like hit finish, So we were talking about that is like the accountability and, knowing when you should just try something a little bit different just to keep them kind of with you,
Yeah. Yeah, I dumped a couple ideas on the slideshow or whatever on 14. So, yep, thank you, Kay, for the arrow. Which is just where it is. Okay. Then the next thing they had, go ahead, Julie. Are we about done with the, yeah, let's go to the sample projects. On Twitter, you can look at Michelle Lynn. She did a Twitter feed on different circuit boards used with pumpkins. So, or something for Halloween. I think this was not a pumpkin, so I was confused about the pumpkin, like, and gummy worms coming out of it or something. So there were some other pumpkins that they had different lights and different themes for it. So that was kind of cool. Hack a pumpkin entry on Twitter. There's a link there. The next slide, go ahead, is an example of circuit stretch. And so that was also a project that 7th graders did. Allows you to create a drawing using the circuit board and some arrows. So yeah, let's go on to the equity journey. Janie, ready?
Me. So let's just do a quick little recap of vision and why. So every student in every school has the opportunity to learn computer science as a part of their core K-12 education. This is a core value that code.org has never steered away from. When I started with code.org back in, like, basically when it started in 2014 and 15, I'll be a testament, like, that was their vision and they really have not changed. They just want everybody to have the opportunity to have computer science, the opportunity to just have that in their education. So it's really cool. So moving forward, basically throughout all of this school year and even last summer, we have talked about the equity piece and we've discussed inclusion, and we've looked forward and made it our goal to bring computer science into every classroom for every student. So now we're going to look back at the equity sessions. So I'm going to just do a little recap of the definitions. So equity, everyone gets what they need to succeed, and inclusion, you all can read that. But I think you might recall that I showed you this the last time we mentioned inclusion, and what Microsoft, they have this really excellent source and it's linked right in the site, or right in the slideshow. If you click on this little, it looks almost like it's a PDF. Yeah, thank you. That's right there for you. And it's an inclusive classroom guide. So it's a really great resource to keep in your back pocket or your tool belt, however you want to consider this. But it's like, how funny. Today I'm kind of thinking about this course tonight, and I saw a poster in the lunchroom, and it was a diversity poster, and I thought it was kind of neat. But I read diversity. What did it say? Diversity means that you're invited to the dance, right? So the prom coming up this weekend, like, we're all gonna be there, we're all invited. So I really put that kind of like towards the equity piece. I thought about prom and equity. I mean, maybe not everybody can afford that beautiful prom dress, but I know here at Rapid City, we have some students that they're able to go get a prom dress at a school that they're doing this little dress drive and whatnot. So we're making sure everyone gets what they need to succeed. Well, inclusion, I read on the poster, sorry, I'm like getting so sidetracked, but on the poster, it said inclusion is being asked to dance. And that really just made my heart happy. That's kind of how I'll just like leave it in my head. So basically you get asked to dance, and I know you all can like put the 2 and 2 together, but we're not worried about judging one another. I mean, if that person asked me to dance, obviously I look prettier. I feel like, I don't know, I'm just going down that dirt road like I have a chance to do. But it's like there's just nothing to it. It's just like you get to go out and dance just like everybody else. So equitable participation in computer science means that all students are engaged and learning. So we don't need to share out. In fact, if you want to just think about this, because this was part of your asynchronous activity, you were prompted to answer a question. Where are you today in your journey to support equity in your computer science discoveries classroom? So thinking about where you were this summer to where you are now, if anyone wants to share, I would be happy to hear it, but I'm not going to force you to share. So I'll give you a couple, we'll maybe just go for a minute. So if you feel like chiming in, go for it. Or if you want to do it in the chat, I'll give you some time.
I started my teaching career in Sioux Falls at Whittier, which is like an incredibly diverse school. It's probably very much like George McGovern, you know, that type of school. And we had a lot of students with unique needs. I mean, I had deaf interpreters in my room, and I think that was a good experience because just from the very beginning, I've always had to find ways to allow for every single student to learn something. And they all can learn. I truly believe that. I believe everybody can learn. They may not learn in the same way. They may not learn as in the same pace, but they can all learn. So to me, it's kind of a natural thing to think about in terms of inclusion. When I look at a lesson, I'm kind of like, okay, what are some concepts that someone would struggle with? And then how can I scaffold that, you know, to make sure that, you know, it's reachable.
Right. Thank you for sharing, Leela. Looks like you were quoted. Risa had to quote you. Everyone can learn. Thank you, Risa. And I'll just be honest. I mean, this topic, it's like, there's no right answer. It's just like, as long as you can find it in yourself to know, like everyone has to start somewhere. And if you realize small things, like for me, this journey of equity this year has been all about internet. Like, let me tell you, that is like the number one thing where we're at least in Rapid City School District. And supporting equity in that regard is exceptionally challenging. But just the fact that we start somewhere and that we work towards that equitable classroom, I think that's the biggest thing. So let's go ahead and jump to slide 22. This is basically a little recap about where we were at. So during the summer workshop, I believe it was Scott that focused and introduced a concept called blind spots. And then we identified an equity challenge we wanted to address. And then workshop 1, we focused on role of the teacher and how that we can show them they all belong in the classroom. Workshop 2 focused on group dynamics and strategies for classroom culture of inclusion. And then finally, workshop 3, focusing on creating an equity plan for the following 30, 60, and 90 days, keeping in mind what we can control and what we can influence. So if you want to jump to the next slide, I appreciate that. So if you want to just make a mental note, or if you want to write in your journal, I'm not exactly sure how how you're doing this individually, but how is your understanding or approach to equity and inclusion in computer science education involved? So let's just make a mental note. So I used to think blank and now I think blank. You don't need to share this out. Thank you, Julie. And maybe as a facilitator, let's see. As a facilitator, we're also doing our own understanding. I mean, my understanding changes every year during this time. And it's cool what all the participants bring to the table as well. So if you go to slide 24, I want to say that this is the beginning of our yep, so thinking about, I used to think blank and now I think blank. This poster activity is going to be a little bit different. I really enjoy this in person because I feel like it's a little bit more private. Like you can go write something down on a sticky note in a legit, like I believe last summer or last school year, we did it in the hallway and it was kind of dark and you could like write something that you truly wanted to write without that feeling of judgment. But if you all are all feeling comfortable, I know I feel comfortable to share things with you guys that I maybe wouldn't have felt comfortable to share with other groups, just because I feel like we have created a more inclusive environment just in this little Zoom community that we've created this year. So if you're feeling up to the challenge, I was thinking to have two, like just break it out into 2 breakout rooms where we could answer these questions on, I think on slide, so 25 would be the slide that you're actually filling out, but it's kind of a 2-part poster session. So you would do the what, but not the how. So see how the how is grayed out. So you would say, what does an equitable and inclusive classroom look like, feel like, and sound like? And then what challenges there are. And then Julie, if you just want to jump ahead, just so you guys have a nice understanding, once we do part 2, then I believe that's going to be where we fill in the how part of every little piece. Notice how that's not grayed out. I believe if I'm understanding this electronically, if I'm understanding it correctly. So are there any questions on this? Because I think what I'll have you guys do is I think I'll just have you go in. We'll do 1 breakout room. So it's like all the participants, basically we're sending you all out into the hallway. Go ahead and fill this out together. If one of you wants to type, if one of you wants to talk, we're not going to expect everyone to give an answer, just like we can't expect everyone to write a sticky note answer in the hallway when we send you out there. So let's just go ahead and split out into breakout rooms and let's have fun. Let's just do 5 minutes. I think that's plenty of time.
All right, I'm gonna send them out. See you guys.
Thank you.
Little camp and make sure they get an answer.
Yeah, they just keep adding to the list too. It's like,
Yes.
well, then what about this? Well, what about that? And then
Middle
and
school
then-
is fun. Middle school
yeah.
kids have a lot of energy, but oh, I just love their curiosity. And they're so like, they're really like right in the moment. You know, I just like
I hate to interrupt the great discussion, but we all were just like watching you like hawks, like, ooh, look at what they said. Like, this is awesome.
That had to be interesting to watch that.
Well, it's not like we were watching like super close. And I realized I didn't give you all a very good platform because I kept the examples up and I didn't really give you much space. But anyway, you're all are just going like to town on this. So this is great. So I see some challenges there and some what's free to explore. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave these all up, I believe. I guess if Risa Scott wants to chime in, but then the next slide, we're gonna rotate. So we're all still, so this is where it gets tricky. But basically what we would do in a bigger setting, we could look at everybody else's challenges that they have in their room, and then you could give them the ideas you have to like what we can do to help this or what have you. But since we're the same group, we have to be a little bit creative about it. So if you want to just pretend, no, I'm kidding. But I think even in a larger group setting, we'll definitely be able to come up with some solutions for each other. And then at the very end, we can share a little bit about like some awesome light bulb moments that you all had. So we're just gonna go ahead and throw you back in. And now we'll go ahead and go to the next section of part 2 of our poster walk. Sound good?
that.
All right. Julie, if you want to ship them back out again for 5, we'll do 4 minutes this time.
Okay.
And I can too, if you'd like.
Are you ready?
Yes. So please do.
I'm gonna. Oh, you disabled me.
Oh, I'll let you share. You're okay. Hold on. There you go.
I've been disabled. No access denied.
Not you.
Okay, let me try. This.
When Nathan shares, it's generally good.
It's really fun. Oh, it still says disabled participant screen, host disabled participant screen sharing.
Try it
Good thing
again.
we're recording now, so it'll just,
Oh yeah.
we'll record all of our technical difficulties.
You're good.
You want me to do anything, Julie, on my end, advanced sharing?
and
No, he
Okay,
can share
yeah,
now.
it's already there. Try again.
Yeah.
Try again, Nate.
oh, I'm good. I think I got it.
Awesome.
Okay. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm just gonna slowly scroll like this. So I give them a big talk about like how, we're all from different, we have to acknowledge that we're all, very different. We may think differently. We're very different from each other. We're different but equal. So to build the community, I share with them that in a natural science class, communities are a group of species of animals that live kind of in a commune with each other. They share a space. So we're the same way. We're all learners. We're all from diverse backgrounds and interests. We are a community. Whoa, hold on. Whoa, sorry. We're with diverse backgrounds and interests.
This
We're
reminds me of
also-
Star Wars.
Yeah, we're also turning into a community of developers, as a lot of us may be getting good at this, that as a whole, we're going to create, or we will develop great things. And we must also acknowledge that we are a community of people who must work together, collaboration, help each other, ask each other questions, but we must achieve similar goals. So there's bringing some unity to the community, and I like to rhyme it, and acknowledging that we are a community. At least one period a day, we're a community. And in your exploration, failure is just, it's considered another opportunity to try again. So even though we might not get an answer, although we might fail and we might feel bad about it, to not really feel bad about it, because we all fail. We're only human. We're fallible creatures. None of us are perfect, and even when we might feel like we are, there's always someone better. So
And if
failure,
you're like me,
yeah,
failing is the best way to get on the path to success, because it's like when we fail, we kind of really start thinking,
yeah.
oh, how do I fix this?
So like I'll have like, something like that to share with them. Now I
That
don't
like in
know.
the first 1 or 2 days that you're meeting, or
So I do it at the beginning of the semester too, but with slides. But then I use this as a reminder before an activity where they're exploring how to code and how to do things for the first time. The Fuse program, anything where we're maybe going into like a pair programming kind of thing, or where they're going to explore something new. And if I'm just facilitating, I'm not giving them answers. If I tell them, like I said, I have no answers for you, you have to explore and discover on your own, it's a good time to bring this up.
Yeah, this is excellent. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome. I don't know how to get out of this now. I'm stuck. I don't have, there's
Yeah.
no
Don't
controls
leave the
for me.
meeting. Just stay in with
Yeah.
us.
Okay.
You know,
I-
Nate, that was good. I thought we should have just said, all right, got through your speech and the explanation, just call it good. That was good. So
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
So
The only,
this,
the only,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna make a joke, but we'll wait.
Well, now I have to hear the joke.
Oh, good.
Everything Nate said is true, except if you're a bomb diffuser.
Yeah, because it's kind of
You're
over then.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if I could have the ability to share something because I'd
Oh, yeah.
like you to look at what I just started implementing last week
Ooh.
Go for it.
and see if that makes any sense. So we talked about, Layla and Nathan both said that it helps if the students know up front what's going to happen in the class period. So I've started doing a daily agenda, and this would be waiting for them on the smart board when they come into the room. I don't know, do you see any merit to this, or is it just busy work for me?
Well, it's beautiful, I'll tell you that.
It is very pretty. Do
Yeah, I
you,
like the paisley pattern in the back. That is awesome.
do
I'm
you
a big
post it-
Paisley person.
do you post it in your like Google Classroom or your learning management system too?
I don't, I just am, I guess, keeping a file on Google Classroom if I ever needed it. And then, of course, next year, hopefully I can just, the theory is that I'll just be able to update the date.
I would.
I think it's good for, it's good to isolate what the homework is, especially if you're in a middle school where you're requiring like planning logs where they have to write their assignments in there. We were just talking in our group too about how middle school kids will come in. What are we doing today? Do we have any homework? You know, I mean, question, you know, and that's part of their energy and that's okay. I use Planbook. So I literally put the plan book up on the Promethean board, and then we are in the habit of looking through, and I've organized every day by lesson goals, steps, and what's due.
Do you want to, do you want to share your plan book?
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, we use Planbook at Central, and all the kids are like, I shouldn't say addicted to it, but they use it as a lifeline essentially. Like all the teachers use it too. And it's pretty low cost for teachers if you don't have it and you want to make an electronic plan book like it is instead of using a piece of instead of using the old school paper version where you're flipping through every day. Because you can transfer it year by year. It's very efficient.
Yeah, it gives you that continuity to be able to transfer. So yeah, go Layla.
Okay, let me
We
see.
use Planbook also.
Okay.
It is super good.
And I know you can really customize it. I've seen some really beautiful plan books at
Well,
my
I'm really
school.
excited to, ooh, cool.
Like this, how
kidding.
it's step by step, and students get in that habit of seeing homework or lesson goal. Yeah, this is okay. I'll stop talking. Let's hear it, Leila. This is great.
And then, so like if you're gone from class, you suddenly get sick, you have a track meet, you have a golf meet, where do you go? You go here. This is it. And I also have learning management system Canvas, but I also infuse all the handouts. So any handout that's there, it's going to be in Canvas, but here it is too, because then if they have a problem, there's 2 spots where they can grab it. And if they have to email something, they can. And then it's the same format every day for every class. Lesson goal, the steps, when is it due? And any special reminders, midterm coming up. And I have it for every single class. And kids that are going to be gone, they'll come right over here. They'll look at this first, and then they go into my Canvas page, and I have the same language, lesson goals and steps. When is it due? Handouts. It's very consistent. It's the same every day, every week, the whole school year. So they're pretty self-sufficient. Middle school is a little harder. Yeah, you still have to remind them, remember the plan book, you know, but that's just that age. But my high school kids, they're like, I'm gonna be gone tomorrow. I have a track meet. All right, you know where to find the lesson, and they go there and it works really well. I think that
Cute.
there's so much information in our world that I think it's okay to be consistent and have everything be the same. I mean, why
Mhm.
figure out some different system every single day, you know? So,
Right. And Kay, you had the PowerPoint, so if that's consistent to your kids every day, then awesome. I'm sure they really appreciate that, knowing that they come in and they see that on your projector and they know exactly what they're doing for the day.
That focus.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
it says it integrates with Google Classroom. So do you like is it linked to the due dates and it'll put the assignment on the due date?
are you asking if Planbook is linked to Google Classroom?
Yeah, it says it integrates with Google Classroom, but
It-
how does it work?
It does. I think you can put, now I'm working with Canvas Learning Management System.
Right. I know my teachers that send Classroom and Planbook a lot because it just, I think it just mimics though. I don't know if it does.
I
Like I think
can,
it just synchronizes. Does it do this with Canvas?
so like if I, in Canvas is all right there on the same page. So for instance, am I still sharing my screen? I don't
You're
know.
not, but I gave it back to you. You can share.
Oh, okay. Um, okay, so here's all my classes and then here's my computers. And then here's like just a little thing, and then here's all my tabs. And this is where all the kids go for any kind of handouts. So
It-
any kind of handouts
it-
from code.
It hasn't, it just said you've started screen sharing. It hasn't popped up yet. So I don't know.
Oh,
I see
Okay.
it just fine.
Do you? Oh,
I
good.
do
Okay.
too.
Yeah, so do I.
Okay, good. Keep talking then. Sorry.
so like what I do is I pull the handouts from code.org and I stick them in these modules, and like here's here's unit 1 from a long time ago. Here's that handout. Hang on, sorry.
No, this is awesome.
But it's all there. And so
Mhm.
then if they need a handout, it's there. So, and the plan book is on that same page too.
So
Very
by
cool.
way of comparison, we're a Google Classroom school
Yeah.
and we have Plan Book and we have Google Classroom. And I don't know, maybe we don't have the super deluxe package because they run side by side. They are not joined.
So when I did Google last year, my plan book was separate and I just had to bring it up. See, here's my plan book.
Mhm.
It's embedded underneath. Here's my online textbook. So like it has the code.org, and then if they click on that, it's like right there. So you can, it makes it's a one-stop shop, and it's particularly good for middle school kids. High school kids can really like go all over the place, but they still like it.
Mhm.
I like Canvas because everything's in one place. And from Canvas, you can import your grades to Infinite Campus. Now, when I did Google, my plan book was in a separate place. I don't think I was brilliant enough to figure out how to get my plan book schedule into the Google Calendar. I'm sure there's a way, but last year was my first year of teaching after I took a 5-year break, and I had 5 preps. So it was like just survive, you know? And then we went to remote learning. So for someone who's an old dog, there were a lot of tricks last year to learn. So
Well, I think it's fabulous. Thank you for sharing.
yeah, it's these kids just know it's great. I love it. I can
Mhm.
finally say I use technology in this way, so it's great.
Well,
Right.
the consistency is really great. And also, you know, you said earlier, you know, you got kids that are gone for everything. And so now they know where to get everything and they have all the information. And so it makes it easier on them too.
Mhm. So kind of to wrap up our equity discussion, how do I say this? It's like, I remember this guy told me, he's like, if you're gonna do something, say it. So if there's something that you really think after having those really great discussions with your participants, it's like, if there's something that you want to think about implementing next year, just maybe say it out loud in this group or email it to somebody, or just, it's amazing what our minds will do when we make that decision. Instead of saying, oh, I'm going to try to do this next year. Well, it's easier said than done when we say, I'm going to try to see you this weekend. Like, yeah, I'll try. It's like, well, I'm probably not going to make that time out of my weekend to see you unless I say, hey, let's meet at 10 o'clock this weekend. Then I'll get out of bed and I'll go meet my friend or whatever have you. So if there's things when it comes to equity that you know you really want to start trying and doing next year, and even this spring, this is all in our recruiting season, right? To get students to join our class next year. And I know that's different at whatever level you teach, but just keep it in mind for some really amazing things that you guys shared with your challenges, and like how you can still get these goals accomplished to have that equitable and inclusive classroom. So here with the very last slide of this section, we're talking about our resources that we've shared. If there's anything that you want to share for the group that has really helped you with this topic, like I know the Microsoft Guide to Inclusive Computer Science for Education, that's been really pretty new and a really great resource. Is there anything you've used in the past that you'd like to share with your participants? Go ahead and just pop it in there. Nate, maybe you'd be willing to share that document of community, because you had some really cool, your lingo was awesome. It was easy to understand. So if you feel comfortable, I would consider that a resource. A resource that if anyone wants to jump in and say them, we can always type them in for you. But I know I was just recently looking at, funny, it used to be called Learning for Justice, and now it's Teaching for Justice, I believe. Does anyone want to help me on that one? I believe it's called Learning for Justice, and that's a really awesome website that has tons of resources out there. And I know I've pulled from that many times, but it does have to deal with a lot of that, just what equal isn't always equitable, and fair is just another 4-letter word that starts with F. Sorry.
Was it 4 letters teaching
I couldn't
tolerance?
say that in my classroom. A 4-letter word starting with F. Be quiet, don't say it. Okay, anyway.
That was always my motto when it was like fairness is such a hard thing to accomplish. It's like, sorry guys, it's not gonna be fair, but it's gonna, like, that's just, you gotta do what you gotta do.
So
'cause everybody
Kay,
can learn. What's that?
I was gonna say, Kay, could you put like, I was curious about your Code Express that you use for just a brain break or like that. And then Nathan, I'm not even sure what the Fuse program is. I was curious about that. that's some of the stuff we've talked about in our group about some of the ways that they're giving some variety to the kids, but still exposing them to code. So those would be awesome resources to know about.
Absolutely.
You can drop them in the chat and I'll add them, or I'll link them, or else you can just put them in yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, there's a lot of columns there, so we don't expect you to fill out everyone. This is actually very impressive from what you guys have come up with in this quick little, hey, if you have any resources off the top of your head. So this is excellent. And kind of to just tie it all together, there is that, I think there's just one more slide on this session. And it's just like, what can we do to help? So if there's somebody you can really talk to about this stuff, likely you all probably already have a person, like you're still in teaching this year. You haven't quit at Christmas time. So you probably already have a go-to person that you have these really open and honest conversations with. And so consider just having that, that dedicated person even help you with this topic. Like, hey, I'm really trying to focus on XYZ. What are your thoughts? And just talking out loud about it will do wonders, and committing to making a difference. I'm just so tickled for you guys. Like, you're gonna do great. All of these ideas you had on the gallery walk, the poster session, you've got some excellent strategies. So thank you. I'm sorry I kind of rushed through that, but is there anything else anyone that we needed to add? I see Kay just put Code Express, so very good. But like I said, I don't want to cut anyone off, but I want to be cognizant of the time, and Scott still has his session to get through tonight. But how are we feeling? Good. Thank you. Sometimes I feel like I talk to myself when it's a Zoom call and I'm the only one not muted. Excellent. So Scott, I'll let you take it away.
All right, well, let's go ahead, and if we can navigate ahead a little bit to slide 38. And basically what's going to happen here is we're going to wrap up our time together. And, we had some really good thoughts about equity, and just getting kind of the introductions of what we are to do. And apologize, how it is whenever you start to talk, your allergies act up. So that's just how life works. But just talk a little bit about, we're going to do one more breakout room activity here just in a little bit. And I'm just going to give you about 30 seconds, and I'm just going to have you take a look at this slide, just kind of see what we're doing, and then we'll talk about the next slide. So if you just take 30 seconds, just kind of review what's going to happen here, and then we'll move on to slide 35.
What are we doing?
We are, all right, let me see, where was it? Maybe I got the slides mixed up here.
Or did you
Was
mean
it
39?
Yep, so excuse me, 38, slide 38 there. I think we were on the right slide there for a little bit. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we were there. So yeah, so basically this kind of gives you the summary of kind of what to prepare for as far as asking a question. If we can go to the next slide. All right. So what you're going to do here is you are going to write a response to the prompt, and we'll give you that here just in a little bit. And we are in a small group, and we'll be in a breakout room for about 5 minutes. And what you're going to do is you're going to take turns, or however you work together in your small groups. You guys definitely work well together in those breakout rooms. But you're going to read each person's response, and you're going to ask some brief clarifying questions about the situation. All right. And basically what will happen is after everybody's read their response out loud, everybody's going to ask a question to help each other think more deeply about their situation. Now, you might alter this a little bit because obviously we have 3 people and you might do things a little bit differently. But I think the main thing is to get your thoughts down on the slide. So after adding the questions, you're going to read through the questions, add it to your teaching situation, and then we're going to share our final thoughts after reading our questions. So we can go to the next slide. The prompt: what teaching situation are you preparing for when you're considering alternative options to teaching Unit 6? Okay. What teaching situation are you preparing for when considering alternative options to teaching Unit 6? And if you go to slide 41, there is a list, okay? And obviously there would be several of these if we had more people involved, but basically you are answering that prompt. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to go into your breakout room to answer that statement. And then as you are talking about things, as you put your statement down, you can also ask some questions to ask to kind of clarify those statements that you are making and help guide your discussion in the breakout rooms. All right, so let's go to our breakout room for 5 minutes and then we'll return and then we'll wrap this discussion up.
All right, I shipped them out.
Thank you, Julie.
Everybody, look.
Oh, I was just gonna ask about the baby.
I had to bring my baby.
He is so cute.
Isn't he
We're-
adorable?
I just can't believe you guys. He's already 10 months old.
Oh my
He is
goodness.
bright-eyed. Oh my goodness. Wow. I
Yeah.
bet you are really looking forward to summer.
More than
Yeah.
ever.
So
I
you can still
added
put the
up.
baby down and he doesn't go anywhere. Those days are gone
Those
for
days
us.
are gone. Yep.
I added up all my teaching summers one time, like from kindergarten through 18 for my daughter, and it's 6 years of their life. That's significant. So
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
I'm so excited, you guys. All right.
All right, well, let's go ahead and talk a little bit, if I can get back to where we were. So there we go. There we can, but I think as you look at different things, obviously making some progress, with just some of the situations that you come across that maybe, the situations you're preparing for and some of the things that is not easy. And I mean, I know when we talk about problems with, anything like this, I would say pacing is, definitely a problem. When we work with STEM at Del Rapids, I know that can be an issue. And then accountability. How do we measure student progress? And I know that looks a little bit different. It looks a little bit different in Del Rapids than it might be in Britain or Rapid City or Sioux Falls. So there's just a lot of different things that we come across. But as you take a look, at that slide 42, and just a real, obviously we're getting really short. Excuse me, getting a little short on time here, but with the share outs, maybe just a share out or two is after sharing your teaching situation with others, what additional considerations might inform your decision? And what next steps might you need to take as you make a decision? And that might end up being a reflection point for all of us. But what are some of those things that you have? Would anybody like to share take a minute to share what their thoughts are on that?
I've tried to just test things out. Sometimes I will just test it out and like not really knowing the outcome, but like then recording it, like recording the lesson, like, and then where do I go?
Mhm.
How do I move? How am I trying to create more student talk rather than teacher talk? And that's been really helpful. I mean, and maybe that's something that you'll do with this recording because you're recording the presentation. It's a great tool to
Yeah.
improve.
So you record yourself and then come
Okay.
back and watch it again, Nathan?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll set up like an iPad or something, and it's kind of weird, but you get used to it.
No, well, it's actually really that is one of the like one of the schools I'm working with. That's what they're doing instead of like live observations for some of the PD we do. It's they're recording themselves, and then we can come back and we can talk about it. You know what they're implementing and stuff like that. So no, I love that. I love that you do that. Do you share it with anybody else ever?
Sometimes I would like with my department head or I think I've done it with some professional development, kind of like what we're doing here, but I haven't in a while.
Cool.
I do something similar. I've got still the Zoomers and the absent people, are expected to Zoom, but sometimes they don't. So I record my class periods every time there's someone gone and post that on Google Classroom. And
Okay.
it's nothing fancy. I mean, it's just straight unedited, right? Real world gritty stuff.
Well, I think it's, sometimes Kay, you have to do what works for you. And I mean, just, I'm a person that's that way too. Make it straight and to the point. That's the way I work. So I can definitely appreciate that. So, well, I'm just gonna, you know what, Mrs. I would like to spend more time on this, but I know we are getting short on time, so I want to respect your time. Just looking at the question parking lot, unless somebody can tell me differently, I don't think that there's anything in the question parking lot at this point, which means
I
that
have a
somebody's going to
question.
type really. Okay.
I was gonna say, how many stairs do you let your baby go up before you, he's on 3 stairs, you guys. Like, we have a stairwell. Oh, there he goes. So he just tumbled. Sorry,
It
we
depends
don't hang
on
out
whether there's-
downstairs. So I'm just like cracking up over here watching him go upstairs. And so I was like, I don't know when I'm supposed to like not let him go upstairs. I don't want him to fall. But anyway, that's just a parenting question.
Depends on if there's carpet or tile.
We let Franklin just go all the way up the stairs. I mean, he's the 4th little kid, so it's like you can do it.
Yeah, the 4th kid.
But we waited. We let him go up and down now by himself because he can walk. So we
Yeah.
kind of waited to. I mean, when he was 10 months old, I let him go a couple steps, and then because it's a full flight, so I'd just follow him up, and then let him keep practicing.
He can make it up the whole flight.
Oh yeah, now
And-
he goes up and down.
Yeah.
If the gates open, he knows it's time. It's time to
Right.
climb
That's awesome.
because he knows we're kind of uneasy about it. And he's like, no, and then he just kind of looks at us and then kind of backs over to the stairs.
Those are the eyes I'm getting ever since I let him go. Like, he's doing it again. Sorry, I don't mean to be such a distraction, you guys, but it's kind of hilarious.
It is very funny.
It's actually a good thing. He's going to be one to explore when he's older.
It's awesome. All right. Who's doing the closing tonight? Is it Risa
I
or is it Scott?
think I'm just continuing on. Yeah, I mean, so basically what, I don't know, is it Risa or is it me?
I don't
Okay,
know.
I'll continue on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as the closing goes, as we take a look here, there is a survey on slide 45. Please do that. On side 46, first of all, folks, I want to really thank you for everything that for the dedication that you've had for the, almost, let's just, what has it been, like 9 months, almost a year. I consider it a year because we started this process in July and it's April. And, listening to all the nerves that we've had in July from everybody about what was going to happen this year, and we're still here, and I think it's not been an easy year, and I'm sure it's been one of the most challenging years that all of us have faced in education. And we're nearly about 5 or 6 weeks away from being done with it, and hopefully looking to a more normal summer and also a more normal school year. So, but thank you for everything. Thank you for being a part of our family for the last almost a year. So, not that I'm trying to be sentimental, but
I,
Well,
I
a big
echo
shout
that.
out to our presenters and preparers. You just knocked the ball out of the park and such a resource for us. You are very appreciated.
thank you.
If
Thank
you
you.
can get me to do code, then you've been successful.
I was gonna say, Kay, this is why I miss you already. And everybody.
Yeah, it's like when it's ongoing like this, you have multiple sessions, it can easily turn into more of a family feeling. Like this is a family. It's the SDCSD family.
I'm really glad that it's been really good to see you guys every month. I am going to miss you. So,
And may have a violin that they could play.
We'll
So,
definitely stay in touch, you guys, because we're here.
yeah.
I want to know I don't want this to end. So reach out, let us know.
Do you keep adding more class members? Are you up to like 500 now, or like every summer, do you get like another group that you add to the group, or how do you do that?
we do, but people draw, it's kind of weird, and so I don't really know. And when I go back and I look through lists and everything, it's not, we have the people we've trained, but then if I look at who's still teaching, a lot of them aren't necessarily teaching code, if that makes sense. And so
It just kind of works itself out, I bet.
mhm.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody has